As a microeconomics professor, there's this one question I always lead with for my business students. And honestly, it's probably the most fundamental question any manager is ever going to face. Get this right, and you're golden. Get it wrong, well, it's pretty much the whole ballgame.
So, you're a manager. How do you actually get more stuff done? I mean, it sounds so simple, right? But it doesn't matter if you're coding software, brewing coffee, or, cleaning hotel rooms. The answer isn't just hire more people. No. The real answer is a lot more subtle, a lot more elegant, and honestly, it's the secret to growing your business without everything falling apart. All right, let's really get into it. The cool thing is, economics gives us this amazing framework to think about this problem. It's almost like a recipe, a formula for how you turn stuff into more stuff.
And this formula has a name, the production function. Now I know, the second you see letters in a formula, it can be a little intimidating. But stick with me, it's super simple. All it says is that your output, we'll call that Q, is a function of two things. That just means it depends on L for labor, your people, and K for capital. And capital is just a fancy word for all your tools, your machinery, your software, even the building you're in. So if you're a manager, these aren't just letters on a whiteboard, right? These are the actual levers you can pull to make your business bigger and better. You can either add more people, that's pulling the L lever, or you can add more or better tools, that's the K lever. To make this crystal clear, let's walk through a super simple example, a hotel.
Okay, so let's imagine we're running a hotel. What's our output, our Q? It's the number of clean rooms we have ready by 2 p.m. for check-in. Simple. Our labor, L, is our housekeeping team. And the capital, K, well, that's all the stuff they use, the cleaning carts, the vacuums, the big stacks of linens. So if you want more clean rooms, you've got two choices. Hire more housekeepers or buy more carts. Maybe get some of those super fast, high-powered vacuums. But, and this is a huge but, here's the catch every single manager runs into. We call it the short-run problem. In the short run, your capital is pretty much fixed. You can't just snap your fingers and build a new wing on the hotel, right? You can't get 10 new cleaning carts delivered by tomorrow morning. So the only lever you can really pull right now is the labor lever. So what happens when that's the only thing you do? When you just keep hiring and hiring and hiring?
Let's switch gears to a restaurant kitchen. And let's look at some actual numbers here. With one chef, you get 10 meals out the door. You hire a second chef, and boom, output jumps to 25. That's more than double. You're thinking, I'm a genius. So you add a third, and you're up to 35. Still good. A fourth gets you to 38, a little less of a jump, but hey, it's still going up. But then, you add that fifth chef, and your total output drops to 30. Wait, what? How does that even happen? You added a whole other person, another pair of hands, and you actually made fewer meals? Okay, this is where we have to stop thinking like a simple counter and start thinking like an economist. A really good manager isn't just looking at the total number of meals. They are absolutely obsessed with the marginal output. Now, marginal is just a fancy econ word that means, what's the change from adding just one more? So let's do the math. That second chef, their marginal product was 15 meals, right? They took the total from 10 to 25. The third chef added 10 meals, and the fourth, only 3. See, the real question a manager should be asking isn't how many meals did we make, it's how much extra oomph did my last hire really give me?
This chart really spells it out, doesn't it? Look at what each new person brought to the table. That second chef was a rock star. They added 15 meals all on their own. The third chef, a solid 10. But look what happens with the fourth chef, a measly 3 extra meals. And that fifth chef we talked about, their marginal return was -8. They literally made things worse. They didn't just fail to contribute, they actively dragged the whole operation down. So you have to ask why. I mean, how is that even possible? Well, the reason is actually super simple and physical. The kitchen is just too crowded. The chefs are literally bumping into each other. And this, my friends, is a perfect, beautiful illustration of a core economic principle, the law of diminishing marginal returns. It's a bit of a mouthful, but the idea is simple. If you keep adding more of one thing, like labor, to a fixed amount of another thing, like your capital, in this case one small kitchen, sooner or later, each new person you add is going to be less productive than the last. They're just getting in each other's way. That physical reality, bumping elbows, waiting for a stove burner, that's the real world showing us an economic law in action. And once you understand this law, it leads you straight to the single most important decision you can make as a manager in this situation.
Which is, where do you stop? What is the smart hiring threshold? This is the million-dollar question. Knowing the theory is one thing, but actually applying it, that's everything. If you just look at the numbers, the answer becomes really, really clear. Think about it. Every chef you hire costs you money, right? Salary, benefits, the whole deal. So it only makes sense to keep hiring as long as the value of the meals they add is more than what it costs you to employ them. The moment the next hire is just going to cause chaos instead of creating output, that's your stopping point.
So for this kitchen, the magic number is 4 chefs. That's where you hit your absolute peak output, 38 meals. Now, yeah, that 4th chef only added 3 meals, which isn't amazing. But hey, as long as those 3 meals are worth more than that chef's salary, it's still a good decision. But that 5th chef? No way. They are a net negative. So what does the smart manager do? They hire that 4th chef, and then they immediately walk into the owner's office with a plan to expand the kitchen. See? The problem isn't about people anymore. It's a capital problem. And look, this isn't just about chefs bumping into each other. This is about everything. It's about software developers all trying to work on the same piece of code. It's about financial analysts all trying to pull from the same database at the same time. It's about retail workers trying to find something in a tiny cramped stockroom. Figuring out your point of diminishing returns is a skill that works everywhere. Which of course brings us to the final question, the one you need to ask about your own work.
So I want you to think about your own workplace or any team you've ever been a part of. What was the fixed capital? What was the thing you didn't have enough of? Was it actual physical space? Was it access to a critical piece of software? Was it just the manager's time and attention? And can you remember that exact moment when adding one more person or one more project actually started to make everything slower? Because understanding that point, that threshold, that's not just about hiring. It's about knowing when to stop trying to solve a problem with more people and when it's time to start solving it with more or better tools. And that right there is the secret sauce of great management.